Hey people, how are you all? I hope you've been well, and welcome back to what just might possibly be my best Kakashi and Guy Speedpaint ever. Of course, I couldn't title the video that because that's exactly what I titled my last Kakashi and Guy Speedpaint. You know, improving your art over time kind of has its perks and also its slight problems in terms of naming videos. So instead, you're gonna get this. But first, before we get into all the stuff I plan to talk about, can I just say an overwhelming thank you for the response to my latest two videos. I was 100% expecting them to get washed away under all the incredible other content that has come out for Our Flag Means Death recently. I mean, it's like everyone and their mum is making art for this, which is brilliant because it's such a good show. And I am just so glad that so many people took the time to hear my thoughts on the show and watch the animatic, which is, you know, first ever animatic I've made. It was kind of a bit of a... There's probably a professional way to do it, but it was just me drawing many panels and then stringing them together in a video editor. And it was so much fun. And, you know, everyone left so many lovely comments and just had, like, really nice discussions with me about the show in the comments, and so much so that these are my two most watched videos ever. In fact, I think the animatic became my most watched video ever in like 3 days of being uploaded, which is just insane. In that vein, we also very surprisingly passed 200 subscribers about 2 weeks ago now, and so I figured I should probably make a video of some kind to celebrate that. That said, since I made the decision, oh yeah, I should definitely make something to celebrate that, we also passed 300 subscribers, which is kind of insane and incomprehensible to me. I know compared to basically every other major channel and minor channel out there, that's nothing, but the concept that there are 300 people watching the stuff I create is kind of terrifying and awesome to me. So what would you guys like to see? I definitely want to make some kind of celebratory video. I could do another animatic, a draw that's in your style competition over on my Instagram, although that's not kind of seen the same massive growth, so it probably wouldn't make as much sense to do something over there. Or I could make like a mini comic either about Our Flag Means Death, because I get the feeling 90% of the new people are all Our Flag Means Death fans, or a mini comic, another mini comic on my own comic story ideas. I'll try to do something a little bit better this time than the last one. Or I'd love some suggestions if any of you guys have other ideas of things you would like to see. Put them down in the comments and I will certainly think about doing any and or all of them, because technically I owe 2 celebratory videos now. I also just want to mention that I'm thinking of probably setting up an imprint shop at the minute. I've been using Redbubble for a while, but honestly my Redbubble is kind of a mess. And you know, most of my stuff doesn't really suit stickers and buttons and stuff anyway. And I've noticed a lot of other artists, mostly ones drawing OFMD art, have been using imprints, so maybe that's something you think is worth me trying. Yeah. Now onto the actual video. I'm sorry, that's gotta be like the longest intro ever, but I just had so much kind of notices and admin stuff to get through. Because I've had so many new people come to the channel recently, and I've drawn Kakashi and Guy so many times that I'm probably running out of things to say about them, I thought this might be a really good opportunity to do more of a general life/art update about where I'm at, what I'm doing, and the like. So hi, for those of you who don't know, I'm Kate. I'm a 20-year-old, mostly digital artist who really loves drawing both fan art and has created a whole load of original characters and stories, particularly a comic I'm working on based around the Knights of the Round Table, but also just a whole load of other random ideas that kind of pop up all over the place. I also just love consuming and creating media that has really good representation, in particular LGBT rep, as a biromantic ace person, hence my recent obsession with Our Flag Means Death, but also why a lot of the fan art I draw is of queer couples, because, you know. I also have a bit of an odd history for an artist, as some of you probably know. 2 years ago now, I wasn't even studying art at all. I was doing A-levels in maths, further maths and economics. Needless to say, that didn't pan out as hoped, particularly because of the pandemic, to be perfectly honest, but I did try to go to university to study maths and economics. But I dropped out at the end of my first year and instead applied to a foundation art course, which kind of brings me to here, sort of, a couple weeks away from finishing said foundation art course. It's the Easter holidays at the minute, but when I head back, I've got 3 weeks left to finish my final major project before the year is done. I will definitely be making a video on that project soon, so it won't bore you too much with the details of it here, but it's just been so much fun to do. I loved my entire foundation. I'll talk more about that somewhere else as well. And the book I'm illustrating for my final major project will definitely be put up on my Instagram, the pages of that, in a couple weeks, so you can get a look at it. And I'm kind of really excited to share that with you all, because it's not the sort of stuff I usually do. It's watercolour and traditional, and yeah, this entire foundation course has kind of just been one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life, to be perfectly honest. And as such, I am heading back to uni next year, despite how terribly it went the first time. More specifically, to do an animation degree. Almost certainly at Falmouth University, although I'm technically waiting for one last offer to come back, but I pretty much made my mind up, and the fact that this last university hasn't got back to me is just kind of annoying me at the minute, so meh. Obviously, I've not done any proper technical animation before, but I have done tons of character design and story planning and storyboarding for my comic, and I just love the whole using art to tell a narrative thing. As I'm sure most people who are watching this have probably seen, I tried a high hand at making an animatic recently, which, as of the time I'm recording this, has something like 9,000 views, which is just insane. And whilst it certainly needs some ironing out, it was so much fun to make. Like, genuinely, I've made another one that I have plans for a third at the minute, because it was just so much fun to make. The response I received for it was just so overwhelmingly positive, and it's kind of really helped cement my decision to go do animation, which I was pretty much set on anyway, but it's just kind of like the final nail in the coffin. It's brilliant. Of course, Falmouth is about 7 to 9 hours of travel away from where I currently live, depending on how much I'm willing to pay for my train tickets. And so I do have that to consider, particularly given how my last attempt at moving away went. But as a rule, I'm kind of really hyped for going back to uni and starting down a path that will hopefully mean I can actually make a living out of drawing things one day, which is not something I would have even believed was possible a year ago, not seriously, and it's really cool and I'm super excited about it. So as for the channel in general, what's next? For starters, as much as I'm trying to avoid doing too much Our Flag Means Death fan art in one go, and certainly plan to return to my OCs soon, there is definitely going to be some more. I haven't drawn Izzy properly at all yet, and I certainly want to do some pieces for Jim and Olawande and Lucius if I have time to. Steve is my favourite character by a million miles. I've definitely got plans to draw him some more. And also, as I said, I will be putting up a video when my final major foundation project is done too, both talking about that project and my foundation experience as a whole. And then there's this summer, which, who knows, but you can bet there's going to be a ton of content because I basically can't stop drawing even when I try. I'm definitely thinking more animatics. This was meant to be the summer that I finally made some headway on my comic. I think the gay pirates may have killed that ability, but we're going to try our best because I'm still super hyped about my comic. And yeah, just tons of stuff is the plan, really. Now, I did originally intend to have this video out a while back, just before I first watched Our Flag Means Death. I was halfway through this Speedpaint, hence it getting postponed, because I decided that I couldn't possibly not draw Steam Ned after watching that finale. And so I would like to apologise to the Kakashi and Guy fans for that, because I know that before this, gay pirates craze happened, a large percentage of my channel were people who like Kakashi and Guy, because I draw them so often it's a really small, little tiny fandom. And so I would like to obviously apologise to everyone who was looking forward to this video and then it never happened. I really love drawing these two and working on this piece, although admittedly the sketch was a bit of a nightmare to nail down because my genius brain chose one of the most awkward poses in history to draw. The 3/4 facing away view. I've literally never been able to get it sort of looking right, but I think I kind of got there in the end. I also didn't end up looking at a reference for Guy's wheelchair until I was doing the colour test, and so that's why that changed so dramatically between shots. Although I think it looks pretty good now. Another thing I tried here was using the colour testing process, so I tend to put my sketch on a multiply layer and just chuck a load of colours down when I'm starting so I can check that it looks alright before I actually do the line art and all the flats and things. I tried to then apply my multiply and overlay layers to that to get the sunset lighting, so that when I did the actual thing I could use the real colours rather than effect layers, kind of to get a better idea of like how I would make that kind of sunset lighting effect by traditional methods if I was going to paint it by hand. As I said, my foundation project, I'm doing a book that I'm making with watercolours, so traditional colours, and I don't plan to do any dramatic lighting, but it's a good idea to kind of work out how you do that and how you pick the colours to get the funky lighting rather than just using standard colours and then effect layers, which are very useful and cool, but I thought I'd try something different. I'm not sure I quite got the vibrancy I wanted in it by the end, or the detail, but I did my best. And actually the detail problem was probably because I painted most of the shading on this while on a moving train, which would not recommend. It's very difficult to paint on a moving train, hence why I started making another animatic, because at least that can be sketchy and messy and it's fine. I also finally just wanted to draw some attention to Guy's scarf. These outfits were 100% based on the Hot Spring arc, because these two were peak old married couple in the Hot Springs arc. However, I actually switched out Guy's scarf here, because although the yellow one he wears in the anime is much more wacky and Guy-like and adds, you know, that crazy kind of colour to his outfit, which he doesn't really have here because he's wearing brown, which is odd for Guy, but sort of works in a weird way. Instead, though, I replaced it with a red scarf, because Kakashi and Guy are both seen wearing a red scarf as teens. Kakashi wears it with his Anbu uniform, and Guy just wears it on one of the other missions for some reason. And I've always had this private little headcanon that it was in fact the same scarf, and Guy simply nabbed it off him at some point, and I wanted to reference that idea here because it's just adorable, and I love these two. They've got such a cute little best friends to lovers relationship. Honestly, if these guys were canon, which they are unfortunately not canon, like if these guys though had been canon, they would have been very similar to Steed and Ed, which is just kind of adorable for me. I love them so much, and so I was just like, I'm gonna drop that little thing in here. Nobody will get the reference because, you know, it's inside my own head, but I think it's well cute. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope if you're new to the channel that it was helpful for you getting an idea of the kind of rambling nonsense you signed up for when you subscribed. I've never really made a video that had actual structured audio. I always seem to go off topic. I'm going to try do some better ones in the future, but it just tends not to happen. But either way, I would like to thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave suggestions for a 200/300 subscriber special, because I really need to do something, because this is just insane and my brain can't handle it. And I will see you all soon. Bye!